When I talked about your character's power in my intro, I thought about how much I love her confidence. What do you love most about the character you play?
I love that she's portrayed as a calm and cool and collected person of high power, and I'm such a dork. Because to be blessed with the words that David Shore and the rest of our staff of gifted writers have presented me is a woman of color who happens to be running one of the most prestigious hospitals in the nation and is in charge of making sure that the hospital, San Jose, St. Bonaventure, is run efficiently with this cast of characters who are portraying, really gifted surgeons and young residents of the hospital. So to be gifted with that character, and hopefully it'll be a long run, I just know that I have a lot to live up to the words written by David Shore and our writers, as well as your expectations, because we are hopefully reflecting what's going on in our society and in hospitals and in taking care of each other, life or death situations. That's what I'm really blessed with at this time. So thank you so very much, David, and all the other writers in our audience.
We'll keep coming down this way. Hill, this is a big commitment for you. You live on the East Coast. You shoot on the West Coast of Canada. How did you know it was worth that cross-country experience to do this show?
Well, first of all, I want to say none of us would have a job if it wasn't for fans and for you guys. And we say thank you to you. This show is successful because of word of mouth and folks talking about it and you guys getting a ticket to come here and going through the rain and coming out. I mean, that's something you could see in in your own home in a couple of days. It's special. So thank you. And I guess it sort of speaks to the same answer, George. When I read the pilot, it was so well written, and TV is all about the writing. It's great to have a great cast, but if you don't have a script, if you don't have consistency with really high quality writing, there's no way, one, you're going to enjoy doing it.
Right.
And there's no way that you can figure out a way to elevate it. And there's no way that it's worth doing. So I'll move wherever for great writing because it's actually rare. And that's real. And David Shore, I believe, is the best writer on television.
Richard, I don't know if people know this in the audience, but I've long been a fan of the great actress Sheila Kelley. And I love that last week there was a woman in a coffee shop that you may or may not be falling in love with, and it is your real-life wife. How did this happen?
I lobbied to get her the job. No, David. It was David's idea. Actually, came to me and said, "How would you feel about?" And the look on his face was, "How do you feel about Sheila coming up to Vancouver?" As if it would be like a problem. Like he didn't know. He didn't really know what goes on in the household. I could not be more in love and in awe of my wife. And did a puppy just die? What happened? And so, but it was a little bit nervous. We don't get to act with each other very often. We played X's on NCIS, on which I was a terrorist. I can't explain that. And in a little movie called Santa Fe many years ago. And we have to flirt with each other on set in front of people. And my wife was just ecstatic and giddy over the idea of coming up and doing these scenes. And I have to say, I enjoyed every second of her being up there with me and being on the set. And what's also great about it is that she balanced out my acerbic nature on the set. And David, of course, is reacting first.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So the degree to which I am difficult is the degree to which my wife is not. Okay. And so
fair enough.
I was an absolute joy.
Freddie, I remember in the very first episode, all of your colleagues, including the man to your left, were not as accepting of you when you first walked into the hospital. but how each episode, the nuances of the acceptance and the understanding and them enjoying you learning what it means to say flirt as a character. I'm sorry.
I was really bemused
That
at the
is you,
start.
as Dr.
Like they
Sean
really
Murphy.
hated you in the pilot, and then you became a nicer guy as time went on. Like, why
Freddie, we're
did you?
still not accepting of you.
But yeah,
What I'm
sorry.
saying is that now these other doctors are in your corner. Tonight's episode is a great example of that they're in Sean Murphy's corner. And I know that this is probably a dollar question that you get everywhere, but the community, the autism community, must respond to you every time you go out. There's a mother, a father, a grandmother, a teacher that comes up to you to say, is it thank you? What is it?
Hopefully, a positive reaction. No, I think that's what's been one of the most inspiring things that have continually working on the show is the positive reception that we've had from those either who have autism themselves or who know people who do. And I think, and David was obviously so careful about this with his writing, but Sean is never going to be able, nor should we try and make him be representative of everyone who is on the spectrum. In the same way that a neurotypical lead character of a TV show is never going to represent everyone who's neurotypical in the world. And so in constructing the character of Sean, it was, in order to make him authentic, it was remaining true to the realities of autism, but at the same time, constructing Sean as an individual in his own right, finding out about his hopes and his desires and his sense of humor and the people that he falls in love with or the people that he connects with that may not necessarily have anything to do with the fact that he has autism. And so I guess, of course, we hope that the show raises awareness to some extent, but it's also about following Sean on his own individual journey. And again, I mean, the question I think that isn't asked as much now as the show has gone on, but is Sean kind of portrayed as this superhero guy who's going to save everything? And I guess, if anything, this last episode shows both sides of Sean, the side of him that is truly genius and has insights into things that others don't. But at the same time, he makes mistakes. He makes mistakes that other people and neurotypical people perhaps may not.
Daniel, would you ever be a guest star on your own show?
I like the simple question.
Yes or no?
That's right. I would love to at some point. I'm such a fan, like these guys, of the writing. And so I also am such a fan of these actors. And, as satisfied as I've been, watching from behind the monitors or, watching the cuts at home, there's a part of me as an actor that really wants to play with such talented people. And so if there is the right storyline, if there's the right character and the right time, I wouldn't be surprised if I make an appearance sometime.
I think you got the support of the super crowd of fans.
Thank you, guys.
So you've also been a vocal advocate for inclusion and diversity, and I've been to the set in Vancouver, and I saw that. But tell people what they would see behind the scenes if they were on your set.
Well, we have, thanks to David and the rest of the group behind the scenes, a very diverse group of writers as well, very talented, yes, exactly. So I'll cheer for that. And it's important, I think, to have diversity not only in front of the camera, but behind it. So, I couldn't be prouder of the team that I'm working with because I know that is, important across the board. And it's something that David and I have talked about many times and our whole producing team. So it's something that, I can be proud of. The most important thing is that we make, an entertaining show. And we're doing it with a diverse group of people working at the highest caliber of television.
You're ahead of the curve, I think, in television.
You think so?
I think so. I do.
Well,
I'm glad.
Yeah, that's a good place to be.